Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. We've got one of downtown Salisbury's mega developers in the house, Bret Davis. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Always fun to talk to you.
I just have to say that I'm so amazed with what you're doing in downtown Salisbury. And actually, Brett Gillis said to me recently, he said, we would go in, we'd buy properties, we'd fix them up, we'd put a for rent sign. It never occurred to us to get people in advance who might go into those properties and then kind of tailor those properties for their business and to share business ideas with them. That's the matrix that you've created for downtown.
Yeah, it's actually it's been our little niche is to realize that everyone wants something totally different, and rather than create our own template, we'd rather find somebody and then build the template to what they need. It makes it so that then they also want to stay. Who wants to leave a space that has every color and every outlet exactly where you would want it?
Yeah,
So.
Well, the big building that you have is One Plaza East, the old Waikamaca Hotel, which is amazing. And forever you were telling me you wanted to see an ice cream store downstairs, and I was like, no one needs an ice cream store. But as you can tell from my weight gain, having Angelo's down there has really, I think, transformed like downtown in just a little way.
I think it's a big way. I like the it's a checkbox that's really important. You know, when you're out with your family in a downtown setting, I mean, what's better than to have ice cream and get to sit outside on a rocking chair and watch the town that you're studying.
Right, and you see that. They go to Mogan's, or they go to the sushi place, and then they go hit the ice cream. They sit there in the rocking chairs. With the weather that we've had this fall, every night there are people out there. It's just been a brilliant idea.
Well, thank you. I think it took the city and everybody really working together, but now it's fun, and now there's so much activity and festivals and events going on downtown. And sitting on a rocking chair, you actually have something to watch rather than staring at leaves falling.
As a reporter who writes about things going on downtown, I keep expecting you to run out of ideas and run out of new buildings. But you've got like a whole string of things going on. So I want to talk about all of them. But the one thing everyone's talking about right now is this Revival Theater that you have in the old Benjamin's building.
Yeah. So this is a fun one. We approached the Milford Theater almost 2 years ago now and said to them, and this was just before COVID, and they stuck through it. We wanted the idea of let's have an entertainment venue downtown that is not tied to dinner. Everything else is a bar or a venue, and really there was never a live music venue after headquarters left. So we wanted to put in something that's not so massive that it would ever falter. And so now we put in it's about 140 seats. And they have alcohol license, and then they do serve food, but it's designed to be the second step in your night out in Salisbury. You go get dinner, and then you go to Revival Theater, and the diversity of shows is insane.
Right, and that's all everyone talks about. It's like, they're like, oh, that's where they have like the drag queen show, and that's all you hear about. Like this Revival Theater, oh, that's where they have the drag queen shows. No, they have way more than that, but also the drag queen shows sell out. Everyone wants to see this.
Yeah, so I have yet to be to a drag show at Revival, but it's a big hit. Ironically, I was walking by 2 Sundays ago, and I forgot that there was a drag brunch going on. So I was introducing my 8-year-old niece to the building, and we're touring through, and we get to the 3rd floor, and I look over, and I just was like, I think we're going to go back down to the 1st floor. Far too much for me to explain to you right now.
Exactly.
But a ton of fun, and everybody, it's just a good inclusive atmosphere, and they do a lot of comedy shows, a lot of traveling acts, and the drag shows are a huge hit. So I'm glad, and this is something where we don't have any involvement in the actual theater, but we went ahead and developed it exactly to what their specifications were, and I think they have a perfect setup there.
Yeah, and Milton Theater is famous regionally and even everywhere because of the diversity of acts and the quality, and they can cross book and all that. It's just it just makes sense. It's just really a logical business plan.
Yeah, I think we hit another little lucky niche there, and we love that you have to take the elevator up, so you get to see all the businesses in the city center, and it's been great. Nobody has had a single complaint in the building. Everyone says, "Oh my goodness, it's bringing more." And we're actually working on another lease for the 3rd floor, which would be more retail, because they said we really want to be near all this new foot traffic that's coming to the building. So we're excited for it.
Interesting. City Center's been one of those 40-year things that there's been no way to get the thing right. Everyone's been in there and tried.
Yeah.
But you've certainly been more innovative than anyone else with that.
Well, thank you. We think the biggest key was getting accessibility throughout the building. So putting in the glass elevator really made it so that instead of a first floor and a hodgepodge of upper floors, it's now a space where the second floor and first floor, there's really no difference to get to any space in the building. And you feel like it's more accessible because it's visible.
Yeah. And the restaurant downstairs, which used to be like a new restaurant every year, they've really solidified, and that outdoor area is excellent.
Yes, and Rody Joe's, so Jeremy's got a ton of ideas. They're always innovating. It's been phenomenal. And they've got a couple more surprises, I think, in store. We're working together to do some pretty cool additions to the outdoor area. So we stay tuned, but the ideas never stop rolling. There's always something fun to come up with.
Yeah, they marked themselves in the beginning as a dive bar, but I don't feel like it's that anymore at all.
They definitely shifted away from that.
Yeah.
I think that it was something where they were always the go-to spot for the late night crowd, and I think they realized that that's not where they really wanted to identify themselves. So now I think of them as just another restaurant.
Yeah, it's great for families. It's just a great open environment in there. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's always kids running around.
Yeah.
So.
The other one that you are getting ready to do that I'm really excited about, because my mother worked there for years, was the White and Leonard building.
Okay. Yeah. So the White and Leonard building is just a hodgepodge of ideas that have been put together into what I think is going to be a really fun building. So we are planning to not remove any of the apartments that are there. There are 8 apartments. Those will actually get separate entrances. We're redoing the elevator so that we can actually make it accessible for all of them. And then on the first floor is where the real fun starts. We're going to be putting in a high-end steakhouse on the front half of the space. In the rear, we'll have a distillery. So we'll offer tours, but it's more of a micro distillery, nothing that's going to be putting out massive quantities of alcohol, but really it's designed to couple with the steakhouse. So we're going to do some really high-end, unique liquors and then tie that into the steakhouse. And then to add just more fun to it, we will be gutting out the entire basement. We've actually already done it. And so in total, we're looking at about 8,000 square feet of space.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in that building.
Huge amount. So the basement will actually have almost 150 seats in and of itself, which, to give you perspective, is larger than Mogan's currently is.
Right.
So
that's really exciting. And forever in Salisbury, there was this attitude that, you couldn't have alcohol near the church. But St. Peter's seems to want to be your neighbor.
Yes. So fortunately, they've been so supportive of everything we're doing downtown. And, we're not going to be open till 2 a.m. It's not a place this is not the place where you go have a big old party. This is going to be
students. It's not going to be like that.
This is going to be more of a high-end cocktail hour, and then you're staying later in the night, and maybe you're listening to some cool jazz music or something after you've left Revival, and really a destination is what we're trying to create. And then really giving you the distillery is just so that you can appreciate that the steak you're having isn't just amazing. You're trying unique liquors that were made on site. As part of that experience.
Right. Back to Wacomico Hotel, One Plaza East.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mogan's a couple times. People love going to Mogan's.
So besides looking pretty, we really don't have much to take credit for there. Between Denny and Brad, they created an amazing restaurant, and the atmosphere is it's just so alive.
Yeah, but you built the stage and gave them the opportunity to perform basically in there.
Yes, but kind of like Revival. I mean, its success is not tied to us. It's it makes it easier for these businesses, but it takes the community really working together, and in this case, it took a whole family coming together, and they've done an amazing job. We are thrilled, and we just added the new banquet space, so now we're getting ready for Christmas party season. We're pretty excited.
Where the little copier place was, they've expanded into there.
Yes, DeCarlo's Printing was nice enough to sell us the space. So now we have I don't know the exact seating count because it kind of depends on whether you're doing a cocktail hour or not, but it also has a private bar over there and then a TV and a surround sound setup. So if you want to do presentations, but the goal is you can shut it off from the rest of the restaurant and have a true party where you have your own bartender and everything like that. So that was kind of the design intent.
Right. And we think of you as like the owner of One Plaza East, but really it's a condo situation.
Yeah. So we own now everything but the top floor and then one space.
That's
on
Will Hall,
first
the
floor.
attorney's up there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
where the old ballroom was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, if you think I haven't been having that idea
I
swirl
know
through my
I know
head.
you want to get a hold of that.
Yeah, his office is gorgeous, but a ballroom on the 7th floor
Yeah.
would knock people's socks off. And
Yeah.
the old ballroom ceiling is actually still in place.
Yeah.
And it looks phenomenal.
It's beautiful up there, it really is.
It used to be something spectacular, and we're
But
glad.
then the fire ordinance has changed that. You couldn't have a lot of people up there, was the problem, as I recall.
Yeah, we would need to sprinkler the whole building,
Yeah.
which is something we've started that process. We've sprinklered a couple floors. Our intent would be to eventually sprinkler the entire building, but then once we've done that, then yes, we would be able to have the occupants we would want up there.
Right.
Maybe not 300 or 400, but a couple hundred people. There's a pretty easily accessible fire escape that goes down outside of the building.
Right.
The building's 100% concrete. So next time I'm here, we'll be talking about the ballroom.
And then you did something simple with that building. I guess it's simple. You uplit it, and it made it into a completely different thing.
Yeah, well, that's...
Where'd you get the idea for that?
I'm big on lighting. Lighting changes everything. You know, a building has no identity at night unless it's lit up. And same with the streets. So if you go around all of our buildings, we try and put as much light outside as possible.
Yeah, the city center lighting on the back is amazing.
Thank
when
you.
you're coming down
Thank
Route
you.
50. I anticipate seeing it when I'm coming on Route 50 if I'm headed east.
Thank you. We have that awesome mural out back, and
Yeah.
we feel like if you just put light on a building, it also there's a natural attraction. Like humans are almost like insects. We're like, what's going on in downtown Salisbury? Well,
Right.
before there wasn't much, but now it's all lit up. It means something must be happening.
Right. And when I'm walking down Division Street and I look down West Main and the front city center's lit up, it's just like, wow, there's something going on down there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Thank you. We actually ended up, not to go on a side tangent, but we ended up buying 5 of the 6 buildings adjacent to the city center as well. So we've got, we just moved the Mud Hut over into 231, or helped her move her business over, and we've just finalized the space actually today with Mortgage Network is relocating downtown.
Oh, they are, okay. Hope Morgan and Mike Wessels, excellent.
Yep. So they're going to be on the 2nd and 3rd floor of the same building, and
Is that the Plaza building?
that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
See, that was always one of my favorite buildings in town because it's got the big window, the big
Yes.
cool half-circle window
I'll have to
on 2 floors. It's just amazing in there.
Yes, and so we ended up cutting those floors together.
Okay.
So we actually cut a section out, so you stand in the 2nd story and see all the way to the top of the building.
Oh.
So you can see the whole window from both floors.
Okay.
Yep. So that was someone had given us the idea in passing, and they said it like almost like, haha, if only there was no floors. And turned to my brother and was like, okay, now we have to do that. I mean, that's a great idea. So that one will be finished up in the next 24 hours, and we're pretty excited. It's just more foot traffic.
Yeah, no, I spent a lot of time in that building as a kid, and it's just a great building. I'm glad that you're there to make it better.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
Thank you for that. Also, back at One Plaza East, down in the basement, you got the thing for the kids.
Yes, Amp Studios.
That's really cool. But go ahead.
Well, so I got Joey Gilkerson to thank for that one. We were down there. We were actually going to be building, since that was before Mogan's, we were actually going to be building a restaurant down there and a bar. So we were gutting the space and getting ready to build a restaurant and bar, and then Joey Gilkerson got me in touch with Susan and Gino Bailey for the Amp Studios, and that just struck a chord. It just made so much more sense to build something for kids.
Yeah.
It sounds now every night you go by, you can listen to live music.
You can hear them in there practicing, and the thing I notice is when you go to these fairs on the weekends, they're performing, and they're better than any of their bands. They're these high schoolers, but they have a place to practice
Absolutely.
to really get their thing together.
Yes.
And what I think of is, when I was a kid, I remember, all the times that we went downtown, and it kind of formed me. And what you're doing is creating a whole generation of people who went downtown for something in their high school years to play that music. It's going to make downtown really important for them.
I appreciate that. I think that there's so much that has to happen for a downtown to succeed at once, that's one of those crucial components, because that means that the kids are identifying with downtown instead of, there's this generational gap where, you tell me really cool stories of downtown, then I talk to people that know it from the 80s and 90s and say, oh, okay, well, it kind of, it died as the other parts of the town grew. Well, now it's cool to be able to hand to that younger generation something to say, hey, come downtown and go down in a basement and play live music on a stage, and you feel like more part of the community rather than it being a segmented part of the town.
Yeah. So really excited about this steakhouse thing. The idea of a destination steakhouse, I will all the time get in the car and drive a long way to have like a big premium special event steak dinner.
Yeah. It's something where we're really excited, and also know that it's not just steakhouse. So we will offer vegetarian options, and we understand that right now there's just such a diversity of palates.
Who cares about all that stuff? Right?
Well, I will put that in there because it is something that when I think of steak, we think of that night that you're going as a celebration. It's definitely not something you would eat every single night, presumably, but
could.
Yeah, you could.
Bourbon and steak every night.
That
would be fine, actually, when I think about it.
I'm hoping that's what the afterlife is. So I think what we're going to create is this setting where downtown is something you look forward to and you go celebrate. There's now going to be such a diversity of restaurants that I think we'll have no trouble getting people there during the evenings. And now with all of the apartments coming downtown, we think that my goal has always been 24/7 foot traffic. You don't want people drunkenly walking around from 2 to 5 in the morning.
Right.
But there is presumably some more safety and more, there's a safety to knowing that there's always people around and there's things happening. And I think that makes people more comfortable coming downtown. So we want there to be this 24/7. There's breakfast places, there's lunch places, there's cocktail hours, there's evening events to go to, there's apartments where people are living there and it's thriving. And that way it's always moving and always staying alive.
Well, you know how much I work, and I'm downtown all the time. But even like at the Brick Room and on the plaza on the weekends, you see groups of people moving around to the different bars, and they're sophisticated. They're in like late 20s, early 30s. It's not like real, kids.
Yeah.
But there is a kind of an air of goodness about what's going on there, and it's a very positive environment.
Absolutely. I mean, every once in a while you see somebody that's knocked something over or something, but for the most part, I feel like you get a respect for an area when people take time to make their properties really nice. People tend to respect that a little bit more, and I definitely see that with the bar crowds and the people that come downtown. I mean, we hardly ever have damages from anybody.
It's not like my college years of 25-cent drafts.
Yeah, and stealing the sign on every street corner.
And like the big, the big keg. It's not that kind of thing that's going on. It's a much different feel to it all.
Absolutely.
Speaking of beer, and this has been one of the disappointments for me because I can't think of a project I've been looking forward to more of yours.
Okay.
The beer garden over on Market Street.
So. This is an interesting one. So we had shifted the beer garden concept we wanted to do shipping containers, and there was, to no fault of the Historic Society, there was some pushback as to how that would work because it doesn't have any historical significance.
And they can look really cool or they can not look cool depending on how they're set up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I hope by now we've proven that we're going to try and make it look really cool. Whether it's your taste or not, you could at least say, well, those guys put forth effort. That idea is still very much alive. The Lot 16 apartments, we're actually working on an expansions plan right now. We're trying to add 2 additional floors to the project.
And Lot 16 is right next to that on Market Street.
That is right
just
next
to the east.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. So what we're thinking is, our goal would be to get to 70 waterfront apartments. And these would be the most like premier apartments in Salisbury. All on-site parking, fiber, rooftop deck, all the amenities you would want in a luxury apartment building. And that's because we keep hearing over and over from not just the younger generation, but the older generation saying, okay, I've lived on the shore for quite some time. I've lived on 10 acres. I could use a couple of years where I don't have to mow any grass or think about any upkeep. And that has been stuck in our brains. And with how many people work at the hospital, we want to create something that's walkable and just really adds to what we're doing downtown. So that's that next phase. We just want to pack quality apartments in downtown where it makes sense.
Yeah, and following the theme of the show, It's Not Going to Work, the POW building, when they presented that, I was like, yeah, well, good luck with that. And they sold it out the first weekend? I mean, it's completely rented out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those people are very sophisticated, people with jobs who want to be close.
Absolutely.
And it just proves that it could be done.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, when you look at the total population of Salisbury and then you think how cool downtown is and how much the community supports it, I look back and think, okay, we've got, let's say, 100 apartments in downtown Salisbury now, and I could see the plan being around 500 in a couple of years. That's still such a small percentage as compared to the population of Salisbury and the surrounding areas that I don't see it being something where Vernon Powell's the exception. I think that as new apartments pop up, I think they'll be gobbled up because people want the pace of the Eastern Shore. But a lot of these people are coming from New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, D.C. They're not quite ready to commit to 10 acres and, the Green Acres living style. And I transitioned. Well, I live downtown. Now I live a little bit, further out. I live in a wooded lot where I can't see my neighbors or anything. So I've transitioned, but it was definitely a point in my life where I wanted to be more in the hustle and bustle, but not over in D.C. So that's what we're seeing a lot of.
But probably as soon as your kids go to college, you'll be back in an urban type setting.
I would probably think so. Don't tell my fiance that.
So those apartments on Market Street, the one thing about the POW building, it's just beautiful where it is. When you look out the window and the sunsets and the river, if you're on that side of the building. But the apartments on Market Street, you're going to have a great view of the hospital, and you've got the city park is going to be right across the street.
Absolutely, yeah. We're super excited, and hopefully they'll get the water fountain back into the river. We love the way the amphitheater turned out, and we have some fun plans for projects across the river as well. So we think that area is one of the parts of town that stands to grow considerably. With all the projects going downtown, we have this waterfront that is totally underappreciated. We have the ability to kayak and stuff in it, but it seems almost, I hate to say it, but like a running joke of like, I wouldn't want to touch that water. So we're hoping that with everything the city's doing, the water seems to be getting cleaned up, and there's just going to be more life around it. And we've heard plans to put string lights along the river walk, which would be, again, more light. More when you add the ability to people to hang out and walk safely at night.
Right.
You're just going to see a surge of people wanting to be there.
Right. Remind me again how you got here. How have we been able to benefit from your hard work?
So I came from Montgomery County and then went to school at Salisbury. My options were rather limited. So came to Salisbury and then ended up convincing my brother to move here years later after, I first convinced him to give me some money to buy a project with him. And then he was like, I don't trust you with the money. I should come down there and watch this. So he moved his family down here, and we've been here ever since, just loving it. So then my fiance is from Philadelphia, and she moved down here just about a year ago, and we love it. Our plan, we might move around the shore, but I love it, and no plans to move back to DC.
Probably an unfair question, but you're
Sure.
more aware of it than even I am. But do you worry about getting overextended? Because you've got so much going on.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, there's only so much bandwidth. And next time I'm here, we'll talk about fiber.
Yeah,
and
we
all
haven't even
we're
talked
doing.
about what you did to the Hall's travel building there on the circle. That thing is amazing.
Thank you.
And you bought Mr. Hannon's property downtown.
Yes,
You're going to have a
yes.
furniture store in there, so we have more to talk about when you come back. But,
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you have too many irons in the fire?
So we have a lot of irons waiting. So we're very much ready for sequentially working on these projects over the coming years. The good thing is I have the best team on earth at our office, and they keep everything, our agents keep everything leased. So we have everything that we are building is already leased. So we are not experiencing anything where there's a lack of customers. And COVID, we didn't see a decrease in demand. We saw a surplus in demand. And I think that speaks volumes to the shore. So I would say, yes, I have too many irons in the fire, but I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
Right.
So we love, you come into our office and there's just a buzz going on. Everyone is really moving at top speed. But if you stopped everyone, no one feels, there's no stress level there. It's like, this is the environment we like. And we see so much opportunity right now on the shore. And for us, you know, it's not just Salisbury. We're doing Princess Anne, Denton, Pocomoke.
Oh, I forget that. You bought the Hall thing, the American Hall or whatever it's called, down in Princess Anne.
Yes, Independence Hall.
Independence Hall.
And then we ended up buying the entire block.
Yeah.
So we just decided, you know what?
No, you're not overextended.
Yeah, no. We can, our company is capable of maybe 5 to 10 of these projects at once.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, it makes for some long nights sometimes, but again, it's just fun. We've got so many fun projects going on.
He's Bret Davis. He is kicking butt in our downtown Salisbury and everywhere else, and we enjoy watching him and all of his great ideas. Bret, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Greg. This is always awesome. You are the best host, and I love the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of One-on-One right here on Pack 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One-on-One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.